The Phoenix Suns and the Utah Jazz are coming down to the wire, and I think the simple question that we're going to talk about today is, oh my God, the Suns beat the Blazers, but the Jazz they're going to beat OKC and Sacramento, right? Right? You feel pretty good? Okay, I hope so. I mean, it is nervous time. By the way, tell me that the NBA playoff play-in tournament didn't work, because I think it absolutely worked, Jake. I think this is one of the best inventions, one of the best innovations in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, well, clearly it was this whole concept was born out of the idea that the NBA didn't want teams, tanking anymore to get into the lottery. And I think it's worked wonders. I think not only did they accomplish that, I think they have been able to create situations for teams that typically wouldn't be at the bottom of the West, like the Lakers, where you have this iconic franchise who suffered all these injuries, and now all of a sudden they're fighting for their lives to stay out of the play-in tournament. And I think that those kind of results for the NBA are awesome, because now you're talking about the legacies of LeBron and AD and all these guys who are having to fight to get a spot in the postseason, and I think it's great. I mean, I know that there have been people or players in the league that have not liked it, mainly LeBron James, but at the end of the day, I think it's great for the league, and I think that the league, anytime that you can put the league in a position to be talked about more in a positive way, I think that's always a good thing, and that's exactly what this has accomplished.
Yeah, and I don't have any question in my mind whatsoever. The Utah Jazz are beating OKC and they're beating Sacramento. But you look at this game last night. Devin Booker hitting 2 critical free throws to beat the Portland Trailblazers.
Wet like on Book.
Oh, man. I mean, he did not have a good night last night, Book. But my guy, who I have said many times repeatedly I'd like to procreate with, I want it. I'm thirsty. That's my dude. Devin Booker, again, and this is why I say that he's... You ready, Jake? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I say Devin Booker's matriculated into the conversation of superstars.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Yes,
the
sir.
show has just begun.
This is why I say Devin Booker is a superstar. Because what does he have last night? 18 points. He struggles from 3, and yet he finds a way consistently throughout the second half to impact the game. And I think it really is remarkable that they were able to hang on and win that game. They get an unbelievable performance out of Chris Paul. They do it without DeAndre Ayton. And again, I just ask, how dangerous are the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs?
Yeah, they're definitely a dangerous team, but I think where this is kind of where we part ways a little bit on Book, because I feel like, on the other side of what you were just saying, that, if we're going to call this guy a superstar, 18 points in a must-win game is not good enough. I mean, that's not what it needs to be. I mean, he needs to be super. If you're a superstar, you're putting up 25 in that game at a minimum, And I know that might seem nitpicky. Well, 25 versus 18, but if he's got 25 to 30, maybe they win by 5 or 6 instead of by 1, and they needed a foul to get it, So that's why I say I think the Suns are a very dangerous team. I think certainly it goes without saying that Devin Booker can knock down any shot at any time, and he has definitely got the clutch gene, which we saw on full display last night. And I think that if you are the Jazz or any other team, you don't want to see the Phoenix Suns get deeper into the postseason, because I think this is definitely Book's first opportunity in the postseason. He's got a good team to work with, and I think he's highly motivated. I think he understands, hey, this is my first time. I've been living on the narrative that I haven't had a good organization to get to the postseason with. Well, now I do. Now I'm here. So now I got to win. And I think for them, I would... Obviously, Monty Williams has set out a goal to get to the NBA Finals. I don't think that's even in doubt. But I think being realistic, I think if they got to the Western Conference Finals, that would be a hell of a year for them.
Yeah, and I think the bigger question now is, what do the Phoenix Suns look like in a long series against an elite team like the Utah Jazz? What do the Lakers look like in a long series against the Suns, the Jazz, the Blazers? How dangerous are the Dallas Mavericks? When I go up and down the standings in the Western Conference, I don't think there's a real grasp. With all due respect to the Utah Jazz, I don't think there's a real grasp on who the best team in the postseason is. The Jazz, in my opinion, have clearly been the best team in the West, if not the NBA, all season long. But now you're dealing with these injuries, and this Mike Conley situation is really interesting to me. There is a belief that Mike Conley is going to play tonight against OKC. OKC is historically one of the worst teams in the history of the NBA right now.
Yeah.
I think they have the second worst record in the NBA. This is a really bad basketball team. Why are you risking Mike Conley against OKC? Well, I think the answer there is pretty clear, Jake. I think that the Utah Jazz are worried about every bounce of the basketball for the next 2 games. I think they know this win tonight is absolutely critical.
Yeah, well, the thing is they haven't secured the West yet. I mean, they haven't. It's just as simple as that. The Suns, win this game last night, and this is what we were talking about yesterday on the show, and we had this specific conversation. Last night as a Jazz fan, are you rooting for the Suns to win that game, or would you rather see them lose the game? And I still maintain you wanted them to win that game, so of course they did. And now it's just about taking care of business against 2 bad teams. And I think that if you are the Jazz, if you said, hey, our season's going to come down to us going out on the road and beating 2 really bad teams, I think you'd feel pretty good about that. I think you're pretty happy about that. So that's why I say, yes, I do think they're going to beat OKC. Who's the other team? Last team?
Sacramento.
Sacramento. That's it. Sacramento.
On Sunday night.
Yeah.
At 7:00.
I think they're going to beat both of these teams. And, as far as Conley's concerned, I really don't understand the strategy here. The only thing that I can think it is, hey, he's been out for a while, and we want to make sure, because he is a little bit older of a player, we want to make sure that he at least gets some minutes under him.
Bro, it's a risk. I mean,
there's no question it's a risk. It is a risk.
Yeah. And look, again, I think Quinn Snyder's in the running for Coach of the Year for a reason, because he's the really good basketball coach, and I do a talk show. I don't know that I'd be playing Mike Conley tonight. I think if I'm Quinn Snyder, my philosophy, my teachings and principles, it's Friday, I'm going to talk like that.
Whatever.
My teachings and principles tonight would be bogey, 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 Clarkson, bogey, bogey, bogey. Hey, what's the game plan tonight, Coach? Bogey, bogey. Second half, bogey. Adjustments.
Excellent strategy, sir.
Adjustments in the second quarter, bogey.
Bojan.
Get Bojan the ball more, please. Get Snatchevich the ball more.
Bogdanovich.
The ball more now, please. What about Jordan Clarkson? Don't give him the ball because it won't go to Bogey, Dan. That's my strategy tonight.
Here's what's going to happen.
Right? Tonto, give the ball to Bogey. That's what I would be doing, because I think anytime, Bojan Bogdanovic has the ball, it is generally a good thing for the Jazz right now.
Especially against these crappy teams. I mean, let him eat, dude.
All right. My God, look at the comments section. Lit.
We get it. It's lit. It's Friday.
The Jazz Huddle. Good morning to you. He says, morning, lads. So disappointed the Blazers sold last night. I think the Blazers did everything they could do to win that game, and they just didn't have enough. I mean, when you have the best player that's ever played the game, and Devin Booker winning the game for you as the Suns, I'll stop. James Knight says Phoenix got lucky. Well, actually, I don't think they got lucky. I think Phoenix, without one of their important pieces in DeAndre Ayton, and you had to suffer through, as a casual observer of the Phoenix Suns, trust me when I say it, is suffering through Dario Saric, because he's trash right now, frankly.
Yeah.
They suffered through Dario Saric last night. Frank Kaminsky. Hey, let's give the ball to Frank Kaminsky. He'll do a little turnaround from 3 feet and shoot an air ball.
Sure. Of course I understand why people are upset.
From 3 feet. Turn around.
How?
Air ball.
How?
Frank, your job.
Bro, how?
Just hit the rim.
How is that even possible?
Just put the ball in. Frank Kaminsky sucks, and they still won the game. That's not luck. You get a 30-piece nugget. Jake hates that.
Bro.
You get a 30-point game from Chris Paul. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not luck. It's not luck.
I'm guessing that's a reference to the foul at the end of the game.
Yeah,
I would
it
assume.
is. Jazz Huddle says, I've never been so nervous for a game against a 21.
Dude, right? Right? Is there not a lot on the line in this game right here? Like honestly, like it's just like I was just saying, like you, like as a Jazz fan, it's obvious that you would be happy saying, okay, you know, if our season comes down to OKC and Sacramento, we're pretty happy about that. We feel pretty good about that, but at the same time, you're on the road against OKC.
Jake.
Dude.
Jazz fans are traumatized.
What are you, nuts?
Yeah, they're traumatized. James Knight, come on, bro. Are you the victor or the victim?
Here we go.
Seriously, are you the victor or the victim?
Here comes the officiating comment.
Oh, my God, yes. Clarkson, no call. Booker gets call. Rep matters, I guess. Did you see the calls that Clarkson got in the Blazer game the other night?
Yeah.
Like the phantom pass? Jordan Clarkson gets plenty of calls. Trust me. It's not, this is what no, I'm not doing the officiating thing. No. And Dante May says, can Jake make an over-the-shoulder left-handed shot in that Nerf hoop? If I were a betting man, I would say no.
No.
Axel Granzini, good morning. He says, morning, fellas. Vision Gaming 2011 says, come on, you sons. Hey, from the UK. Let's go. Chelsea Football Club, FA Cup final this weekend. Cody Strickland says, good morning, guys. I like to call a bag alert that Jazz might lose to the 1 seed. Spurs are locked in. 10th seed. I see no reason for them to play hard against the Suns. Could be a major bag alert. Absolutely. Cody, so you think we lose to OKC or SAC? This is the question.
This is crazy right now, dude. Like, honestly.
And just stop it. Go to bed. I don't know, smoke some reefer. Go to bed, wake up on Monday, and get ready, to enjoy your week off as the number 1 seed.
God bless.
Yeah, because the Jazz are not losing the number 1 seed. They're not. That's not happening. Vision Gaming says, love your show, guys. Jazz are epic, but come on. To lose all 3 to the Suns and you still rank them above us? Listen, I think...
We don't rank them above us. Their record ranks them above you.
And what I would say is 100% healthy. This is going to be an amazing. If the Jazz and Suns end up in a series that's a 6 or 7 gamer.
Yeah.
And I don't know who would win it. I would probably lean a little bit towards the Jazz.
Home court advantage.
I think the Jazz win that by the slimmest of slim. And I think that's going to be one shot either way, and you will really have to hope that the 3 ball goes down.
What do you seriously, taking your fandom of Book aside, like what do you expect from him in the postseason? Do you think he like these 18-point games, I'll just keep saying it, are not good enough for what they need from him?
He is struggling to shoot the 3 right now. And it's been a struggle for him most of the season. When he's locked, he's locked. But the thing that impresses me about Devin Booker, and why I say again he is a superstar, is because at any moment he can put up a 20-point quarter like he did the other night.
Mm-hmm.
He has got a mid-range that is lethal. He knows how to get fouled now.
As we saw last night.
I mean, he is growing exponentially as a scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, 3 years ago I'd have said, you can't score any better than he scores.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's turned into an elite mid-range player. And it's probably why he's struggling from 3.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult to be an elite shooter in the mid-range and hit 3s.
Yeah.
Paul George is showing you that. It is very difficult to do. So what I expect from Devin Booker in the playoffs, I expect 25 and, I expect 25. I expect 5 boards. I'd expect 3-4 dimes.
Yeah.
I'd expect great defense.
Yeah.
That's what I expect out of Devin Booker.
Hitting clutch shots.
Yeah, I'm not in your world where I think you got to have 30 points a game to be a superstar. I'm not. I think those games will happen. Devin Booker's capable of scoring 50 points every single night.
Yeah.
He's a superstar. I think it is all a matter of the other guys around him. I mean, DeAndre Ayton's got to get healthy, and he's got to play, and he's got to have some balls to him. Because if DeAndre Ayton plays soft the way he usually does, the Suns are not going to win anything.
Yeah,
they're not.
They won't see the Jazz because they'll be eliminated.
I would agree with you on that. I think that the Phoenix Suns have just as good of a club and as good a chance as anybody to win the Western Conference championship.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they will.
Yeah.
It is, At the end of the day, and this is why I worry about Conley and Don, at the end of the day, NBA championships are won on shot making. If you go back through the history of the NBA, how did the Raptors win a championship? 5 bounces off the rim in the bottom from Kawhi Leonard. That's how they did it.
Is this the dagger?
How did they beat Golden State? Because both Durant and Clay were hurt, and Steph wasn't going to do it on his own.
Yeah.
And Kawhi Leonard and Fred VanVleet hit shots.
Yep.
Right? You go back to, look, Mike and the Mechanics, as they used to be called. I'm telling you right now that you look at Bobby Hansen, you look at John Paxson, you look at Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr, all those guys hit big J's.
Yeah.
You can go back through the Cantavius Caldwell Pope in the bubble last year. NBA champions are made by shot making. It is the definition of every championship run.
Yeah.
The Jazz live and die on threes. It's why I'm so excited to see Bojan Bogdanović, frankly, without the need to have a three.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah,
so,
it's an evolution in his game, no doubt. And
by the way,
super important.
We're sitting here watching the oh wow, that's a travel. We're sitting here watching the Suns highlights in the background again. And this foul on Devin Booker that's a foul. He clearly gets hit going up. That's a foul. That's my point, is that CJ, or who was that? I don't know. Norman Powell. Norman Powell clearly grabs his arm.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. This is the thing I don't understand about the Devin Booker foul call last night. And he knocks down both free throws to make it 118-117.
Right.
If you look at Norman Powell on this play, he very clearly right there grabs the bicep of Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Yet that's a phantom call, and Jordan Clarkson doesn't get that. That's a fucking foul, is what that is. Excuse my French. That's a foul.
Yeah.
Do you agree that's a foul?
Yes, it's a foul. Yes, but it's a soft foul in my opinion. It's ticky-tack.
Okay. No. Look at Norman Powell hit his bicep. We're watching on DirecTV, and Jake and I will fight over this, I guess.
I've seen it a million times.
Norman Powell grabs his bicep. Watch on this close replay. I don't even think this is close. He hit him on the bicep.
I'm not saying he didn't touch him, guy. Jesus,
Devin Booker's
dude.
A superstar, and you will bow down and kiss his feet.
Get out of here. Damn.
What do you mean?
It's a soft foul. Devin Booker, if he was smart, would get into the body more, but he never does that.
Right,
so
because
what happens
he's a shooter.
Okay, well, I don't care what he is. If he's a superstar, there will be no question whether that was a foul or not a foul. Like, the problem is that he rose up a half a tick too soon, so he was already above Norman Powell's arms. So he lucked out that Norman Powell reached out like that. A good defender doesn't do that.
But see, and here's how I would counter that. And this is the same thing I'll say about the Donovan Mitchells of the world. You want to get up in the air before he gets there, because you're not trying to get fouled. Devin Booker's not trying to get fouled.
Then
there.
he's an idiot. He should be trying to get fouled.
He shouldn't be trying to get fouled. He's an elite mid-range shooter. He should be trying to raise up and knock that J down like he does on a regular basis.
Yeah, I guess we just disagree. You're sitting here saying the guy's a superstar when he put up 18 points and had to get fouled to make free throws to win the damn game.
He didn't have to get fouled.
What he should have done is he should have not had such a crappy ass game. He should have put up 25, and we wouldn't even be talking about this. That's what should have happened.
But my argument is, and I don't know why we're arguing over Devin Booker, but my argument is that why does he want to get fouled? Elite shooters, and Jordan has talked about this repeatedly. It doesn't matter if you foul me or not. I'm going to make the shot. I am going to win the game for my team. Every time the game's on the line, give me the ball, it's going in the hole. Mm-hmm. That's Devin Booker, that's Dame Lillard, that's Steph Curry, that's Donovan Mitchell, that's all of these guys. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to get fouled when the game's on the line. He is going to put himself in the best position. You look at where he got fouled. Mm-hmm. He shoots from that spot routinely.
Yes, he does.
It's a comfortable pull-up, knockdown J that I guarantee you he shoots every day in shoot-around. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he was doing. He was doing exactly what he should have done. It's what LeBron will do, AD will do. All these guys do it. He's not trying to get fouled. He's trying to win the game. And if he gets fouled, more power to you.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Devin Booker's a knockdown free throw shooter.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I see all the comments lighting up, but the hate on Book, but it is what it is. James Knight says, we're assuming Phoenix gets both Spurs game. My money is on the split. Could be. Absolutely could be. The Spurs are not an easy out. The Jazz, we've said this for a month. The Jazz absolutely have a schedule advantage. They're playing two garbage teams in OKC and Sacramento.
They don't have a schedule advantage now.
Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, absolutely. Are you serious?
I don't think they have a schedule advantage now. I think
OKC or the Spurs? Who do you want to play?
Well, OKC, of course.
Okay. Well, there's a schedule advantage. Sacramento or the Spurs? I'll take Sacramento. Sacramento's missed the playoffs for like 37
Yeah, but here's the
straight
problem.
seasons.
Here's the problem. They're both young athletic teams that are going to get out and run against the Jazz. The Jazz are going to be in foul trouble in this game, guaranteed. Yeah. They're going to bitch and moan at the officials, and they're going to be at risk at losing one of these games. Now, it's likely that they're probably going to be up by like a gazillion points tonight against OKC. Who are we kidding? OKC sucks. Like, this is a gimme game, right? Like, that's
but
why
Lou Dort is a guy that is historically. That's the profile of player who makes your life difficult.
If we're being honest about the Jazz, again, and I'll just keep saying this, the Jazz have a propensity to lose games that they should win. Honestly, the Jazz have lost games against Minnesota. Any of these games that you guys want to talk about. That's what I'm saying. These are not just we should not just assume that the Jazz are going to win these games. They're on the road. They're against bad teams. But think about it. These bad teams have nothing to play for. So what are they going to do? They're going to take chances. They're going to push the pace. They're going to play with reckless abandon. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to be running up and down the floor at a pretty hefty pace with a team that's already tired. So that's why I'm saying, yes, I do think they're going to beat the Thunder tonight. There's no question about it. But when we talk about, hey, this scheduling advantage thing that we've been rolling out here, I'll just keep saying, to the Suns, it doesn't matter who they play because they went through the thing in the bubble. They're really tight as a unit, and they've won a lot of big games time and time again.
You are a little turned up this.
Yeah, because I think that the crap about Devin Booker, at some point, you got to come off of, hey, he's a superstar because he's got to start getting the job done.
I agree.
He's got to start putting up superstar level games.
Okay, so what is it you need to see?
I want to see 25 points a night from the guy in the postseason. LeBron James is putting up 25 points a night. Kevin Durant is putting up 25 points a night.
How has Devin Booker been in the playoffs? And over his career, how has he scored in the playoffs?
He's never been to the playoffs.
So we don't know that he sucks in the playoffs.
I'm not saying he sucks. What I'm saying is last night, we shouldn't have to talk about, hey, he had to take a game-winning shot. If he'd have put up 25, maybe 30.
Dude, first of all, it's Portland. Norman Powell shadowed him. I watched him all of that game. Norman Powell was in his jock all night long. Norman Powell's a really good defender no matter what Salt Lake City Sports Radio says. A,
I agree.
B, he's entitled to an off night. It's why you brought in CP3 so that if he scores 18, CP3 scores 30.
But pull up the game logs. How many off nights are we going to get?
Man,
how many off nights are we going to get?
There are not. I'm telling you, there are not a lot of off nights in Devin Booker's schedule. I don't know what it is that you want from the guy. He averages 26 points a game.
Okay. So
what do you want from Devin Booker?
I want 26. Last night it would have been nice to get 26.
You're impossible.
How is it impossible?
Because you will never give him credit. You will never. What happens when Kevin Durant has an off night? Oh, he's the best scorer in the world. It's just an off night. Well, Devin Booker had an off night and he's averaging 26 points. Well, that's because he's not clutch and he's not a big-time player. It's dude, the guy routinely puts out for you 34, 21, 30, 31, 32, 31, 21, 33, 36. Fucking 36 points against Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. What more do you want from him?
That's the kind of performance I want.
Good Lord.
You're trying to elevate him.
He is a superstar.
Okay, that's your opinion.
You're never gonna give Devin Booker credit. You're never gonna give him credit. He could put up 50 every game of the playoffs, and you'd be like, "Yeah, they lost. It's not good enough."
Well, I think
he should have put up 60.
We both know that that's just not true.
No,
you can
it
keep
is
saying
true.
that.
It is true.
Saying that, but it's not true.
You will never give Devin Booker the credit he is due.
What does he deserve? What does he deserve?
What
has he done?
He should be an all-star every year. He should be recognized as one of the elite shooters in the game. And now, when the playoffs are here, he should be judged on his performance in the postseason.
And what are you going to say?
It makes or breaks legacies. I'm not going to say anything until I see what he does in the postseason. I'm not going to surmise that Devin Booker is going to suck in the postseason like you are.
I'm not surmising he's going to suck in the postseason. You're putting those words in my mouth. I didn't say he's going to suck in the postseason. What did I say?
That he should have scored 30 last night.
And
in a
we
big
wouldn't
game.
be having a conversation about officiating.
It was but this is the other thing. You're blaming him for getting fouled. You're blaming the guy for doing his job. You're like, oh, he didn't score 30. Not good enough. Oh, well, okay, so in the game-winning play, he rises up, gets fouled, makes it 2 free throws. Well, he shouldn't have gotten fouled. Not good enough.
I didn't say he shouldn't have got fouled.
Okay, well, the way he got fouled wasn't good. Should have taken the body. Should have made the shot.
What do you want me to say? Hey, great job.
Man?
Great job.
He
won the game. Great job. He's a great player. He's
That's
got a
all you
lot
gotta
left
say.
to prove. This is what you don't want to hear.
Man.
Kevin Durant is on a completely different level scoring-wise than Devin Booker is,
he's a sellout.
Okay.
You can say whatever you want about
He's
Kevin
a
Durant.
sellout.
He
Okay.
couldn't get the job done in Oklahoma City, so he left.
Okay.
Right? Is he a really talented scorer? Yes, he is. He misses a lot of games.
Okay.
Right? He gets hurt a lot. He's a guy that, in my opinion, he's never carried a team on his own to a championship.
So just to be clear, you're saying that you'd rather have Book than KD.
No, I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is we have to stop this thing where all we do is rip guys to build guys up. Devin Booker is one of the best shooters in the world.
Mm-hmm.
In the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's an elite mid-range player. Not good enough. He's an elite three-point shooter. Not good enough. Kevin Durant went 0 for 100 in the Rockets series, yet he still gets the benefit of the doubt. Why?
Because he's done things against the best players in the world.
So is Devin Booker.
Okay. Well,
but again, that's my point. It's never good enough. Anyway, we can argue about Devin Booker all day long. It is not my fault you were crabby this morning.
I'm not crabby,
Gabe Ledley
dude.
says, Monty about to put Jake over his knee.
Dude, what the
You're
hell,
damn right.
man? Like, I'm not crabby. This is what you do. You say, oh, well, you're crabby. No, I'm not crabby. Actually, I'd like to see Book, like, end the narrative. I want him to get to the postseason, which is finally going to happen this year, to no fault of his own, right? He's earned it. They're finally getting to the postseason, finally. And I want to see him get to the Western Conference Finals. That's what I want. Like, you're sitting here saying, oh, my God, you won't give Book the credit he deserves, and he's done so much, and he's one of the best players in the world. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But there's no disputing, and you can run this crap about how KD's a sellout. The difference between Kevin Durant and Devin Booker is Kevin Durant, by anybody's opinion, you can say, hey, who do you want on your team to take the final shot? I'll take Kevin Durant all day long because he's done it at the biggest moment.
Compared to Devin Booker, of course you would. He's got it.
That's where it goes. So first you criticize me.
No, you're not giving. Devin Booker's never even taken a playoff shot, and you're sure he's going to be trash in the postseason. Like,
did I
that's
say
amazing.
that he was going to be trash?
Yes, you did. Actually.
I didn't say he was going to be trash.
Did.
No,
yeah,
I didn't.
you did. Yeah,
No,
you did.
I didn't.
Okay.
Those words never came out of my mouth. I never said he was going to be trash in the postseason.
Okay.
What I said is we wouldn't be having a conversation about officiating in a really tight game at home against Portland, essentially a playoff game at this time of the year.
It's not a playoff game.
Okay.
It's not a playoff game.
Then what is it? It's certainly not a meaningless game. It's a game of leverage. Then at least can we agree on that?
And by the way, how did the Suns win the game? Exactly right. They won the game because Devin Booker won the game.
You're right.
But do you see my point? It's never good enough. It doesn't matter that you're going to support Kevin Durant and say he's the greatest scorer ever.
You brought Kevin Durant into the conversation,
right? Because that's
dude.
your guy. You'll never say a bad thing about him.
I said he was a sellout.
You will never acknowledge that as a shooter, which is what you are in today's NBA, you're going to struggle. You are going to go through times where, and Devin Booker is the embodiment of this, where in his last 10 games, he shot 26% from three. He's going to struggle. Hey, but never mind that the guy, routinely shoots 30-something% from three. Mm-hmm. Like, Devin Booker is an elite shooter. You won't just say, oh, he's struggling. Well, Kevin Durant struggles a lot when he shoots because he's a shooter. It's just, it infuriates me that you are much like most NBA critics of Devin Booker. It's never good enough. My guess is if, let's say the Suns run the table and win a championship. Oh, CP3. Oh, Devin Booker could score 50 points a game, and you will sit here and you will say, if they lose, he should have done more. He should have done this.
And when he finally wins, you won't have that hill to die on anymore.
Yeah, I guess so. I look at Devin Booker, and I will continue to say this is a guy that shoots 35% from three for his career. That's elite. That's elite, right? And if he does that in the postseason, great. If he tanks in the postseason, I'll tell you were right. When he goes to LA, I'll call him a sellout, right? He hasn't done any of that yet, so how can you criticize him for it? That's my point. Anyways, let me read all the comments now. Shelter 88's like, cool it. The guys disagree. Lewis Selder says, take note. Brylark says, I want to see some hugs. Roundhouse him, Jake, James Knight says. Jeremy Bolton says, I totally agree with Jake, though. Booker hasn't proved anything yet. Yeah, he's a great shooter, but he hasn't done anything because he's never been to the postseason. Now's his chance. He's as good as he's ever been offensively. Now's his chance.
Yeah.
So it's time to put up or shut up.
I hope he does it. I really do.
Cody Strickland says, what if Booker is like Simmons? Great all-star regular season player, trash postseason.
He's better than Ben Simmons.
Yeah, way better. Totally different player. Jeremy Bolton says Booker couldn't do it without CP3. Well, he was doing it.
No superstar can do it without anybody.
He is Devin Booker. His average 26, and now I think he's averaging 25 and a half because CP3's there. His production's not gone down. So I look at his numbers. He's not point book anymore, so his assists are lower.
You can't run out the hey Devin Booker couldn't do it alone thing because nobody can do it alone. The league's too talented.
Yeah, I just think he's having a bad shooting year. He's in the 80s for free throws when he's historically been a 90% free throw shooter. Where last year I think it was a 90% free throw shooter. Like he's having a bad year shooting the ball. He's a shooter. That's going to happen. Is there still love in the morning between you two? No, there's probably not. There's probably not. Monty, Ben Simmons was great too until his first postseason, and but he has no way to score.
He's not an all around great player. You can't. Yeah, he's a really good defender. He's probably a better defender than Devin Booker is, but Book is probably. I mean, obviously, twice the scorer he is without a doubt, and Ben can really distribute. But they don't ask Book to distribute the way they ask Ben to distribute. So, I mean, they have different games, but I would take Booker all day.
Ben Simmons can't shoot.
I mean, I
legit
think
cannot shoot.
You've got Philly playing last night, and on the broadcast they're talking about how, Doc Rivers is concerned that this team is young. Like, Ben Simmons has been in the league long enough. Joel's been in the league long enough. This team is not young, dude.
No.
Like that's a horse crap excuse.
You're at a point in Philly where you're almost make or break with those two as a tandem.
Yeah, screw Philly. Like these two as their reputation is at a breaking point. You either need to do it or don't. Like
you asked me last night who's got the most on the line legacy wise in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I think certainly Chris Paul is in that conversation. I think Devin Booker's in that conversation. I think Embiid and Simmons are in that conversation.
You know what? I think Devin Booker has the most to gain and or lose.
Yeah.
Because he has the most expectations on him. Nobody gives a damn if Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons do anything in the East because everybody knows they're not going to beat the Brooklyn Nets. It's not going to happen. They're just not a good enough all-around team, like skill-wise and the way they play the game, to get by the Brooklyn Nets. So nobody gives a damn about Philly, as usual. So that's why I say who's got the most to gain or lose. I think it's easy. It's Devin Booker, number one. And then I think if LeBron James and Anthony Davis were to go on and make a finals appearance after the road that they're going to have to go, that would really be saying something about those two.
Jeremy Bolton says the only person that could do it alone was LeBron. Well, he's never won a championship alone. So did he carry the Cavs to the finals? Sure he did. I don't disagree with that. Brylark says LeBron just makes crappy teams good and good teams elite. Well, that's all. Sakshay says Mitchell carried the Jazz to the playoffs alone a couple of seasons. Booker couldn't do it. So then why did you pay Rudy $200 million? If Donovan carried the Jazz to the playoffs alone, You know he didn't do that.
Aren't they 11-5 without him right
Yeah,
now?
they're not that bad without him, by the way. But their schedule's been
Easy, yeah.
nobody does it alone. Now, even LeBron didn't.
I hate that conversation.
So do I.
Like, I think it's
because then you turn around and rip guys who go to Golden State or go to Miami or go to the Lakers, like, oh, because you couldn't do it alone. Okay, so what is it? Like, nobody does.
Did Kawhi do it alone in Toronto? No. Like,
I mean, it's It is amazing to me. You would really take Booker over Donovan Mitchell today, right now? Yes, I would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I would.
absolutely, I would. Book is going to disappoint in the playoffs, just like Grubhub. Jeremy, do not bring up Grubhub yet. James Knight said, "Let's hope he puts up the numbers Don put up last season in the Denver series." Book's capable of it. I mean, listen, I don't disagree that Booker hasn't proven anything in the postseason because he's never been there. So let's see what he does. I mean, it at this point, you're just trying to figure out who that is. If it's the Lakers, he's going to have a tough series because the Lakers are an elite defensive team. They're I look at the way they play defense, and I think it's very difficult. I would not want to be Devin Booker going up in a first-round series against the LA Lakers. Mm-hmm. I would not. That would not be my first choice.
I also think, though, like, no matter what happens this postseason when we pass judgment on Devin Booker, it can't be whether they won or lost. I mean, obviously that like plays a slight role, but like we need, like, you have to look at his individual game and his individual performance because I just can't get down with the idea that this guy's a superstar and he's shooting the way he's shooting from three in today's game. Like, he's gonna have
Devin
to,
Booker.
yeah. I agree. Typically, he shoots a lot better than he has this year, and he has shown the clutch gene. But I just want to see a big moment from him. I want another moment like he had in the bubble when he beat the Clippers. Like I want.
And that's my point.
The
like,
difference.
Everybody forgets about that. They were 8-0 in the bubble with him.
Like, the difference is, like, last night, the reason that we disagree so adamantly about last night is because it's ridiculous that they're even in that position last night. Like Norman Powell, yes, he's a good defender. Royce O'Neal's a good defender too, and he had his way with Royce O'Neal, you know?
But they were also, you got to remember, the Suns were without DeAndre Ayton against Portland. That is a big deal. I'm watching Frank Kaminsky shoot 2 air balls.
But
they have no depth in the middle. All their depth is at the guard.
But here's the thing. Wouldn't you agree, though, that, okay, so no DeAndre Ayton. Does that not mean that, like, Chris Paul and Devin Booker, you know, are going to get the ball more? Theoretically, that they would get the ball more and have more opportunities. So what I'm saying just simply is that if he would have given them just a touch more last night, you know, they wouldn't have been in that position. That's my point. Yes, he hit the game-winning shot or the game-winning free throws. Great. He did his job, no doubt.
5 of 17 and 0 for 4 from 3.
And those threes, that's the difference, I guess. You know?
What I'm saying is, okay, I'm not going back over this. I mean, Chris Paul had a great game. Mm-hmm. What was it? 26 points. You know, the guy had a great game. 21 points from Payne off the bench. You got nothing essentially in the middle.
Yeah.
Their whole a lot of their sets are DeAndre Ayton in the post kicking out to Booker setting a pick. That's a lot of their offense when he's in the game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A lot of people are wanting to compare Ben Simmons having a terrible performance to Devin Booker.
Why Ben Simmons,
hasn't even
dude?
dribbled because Ben Simmons was not good in the postseason. And Devin Booker hasn't even taken a bounce in the postseason yet.
I guess I get it, but at the same time, I just think that's a silly comparison. I mean, they're just not. They're not even. They don't play the game like nearly the same way. Like, they're two different players completely.
And my guess is that Devin Booker is going to come out with his life on the line.
Oh, he knows it.
You know,
he knows it too.
It is.
Yeah, he knows it.
It is. My guess will be that Devin Booker is going to come out and dominate. That'd be my guess. He's going to try and get going early. I think a lot of it's predicated on who they wind up playing, and as they'll be the 2 seed, in my opinion. I don't know. Is this? Ace says, "Is this a Jazz show or a Suns show?" I'm so confused,
bro.
Well, first of all, it's an NBA show. We talk all NBA. Mm-hmm. Mike says Devin Booker is elite in the regular season. It's all about legacies, and legacies are made in the postseason.
I agree.
Agree.
Completely agree.
Never played in the postseason. Brylark says Simmons for sure a lock for Rookie of the Year without question. Exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, we can go over all these. Selder says Jazz would not be here without Bogey and Clarkson. Like, and that's
Agreed.
my point. Like, you're not just giving the ball to Donovan and saying, get out of the way. Why did they lose in the bubble last year? Oh, because they didn't have Bogdanovich.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was a huge part of that.
Yeah.
He's got to be the Bogdanovich that he's been this season since Don went out, because who he was in March was not good.
And by the way, didn't Donovan put up like a couple 50-point games without Bogdanovich? So like, he did everything that he could do.
Yeah, he did.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it can't. This whole thing about like whether it's Donovan or Book or anybody. I mean, today's NBA is just simply too talented to run out the he couldn't get it done on his own thing.
You.
Like that's why
you.
We went to the Blazer game. And Dame and CJ McCollum's talent is unquestioned, right? But they're missing one piece there. And it's been that way for many, many years.
Yes, they are. They're missing something in the middle that can be something in the middle.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Nurkic, the guy just can't jump.
Yeah.
And you still beat the Jazz.
Yeah.
And the thing that worries me is that the Jazz have to win mentally. Their talent's not in question. Their shot-making ability is not in question.
Mm-hmm.
The Jazz lost to Portland mentally because they're out of gas. They're tired, right? That's why they lost that game.
Yeah.
The inability of Jordan Clarkson to get depth on C.J. McCollum, who winds up hitting a shot at the half, you can't have that.
Yeah.
You know, like you just, like those things. This is why, and there was a guy all crawling up in my orifices on YouTube comment section yesterday. Oh, Ersan Ilyasova is getting screwed.
I'll drop that motherfucker.
And I will. Why is Ersan Ilyasova not playing for? And I'm going to give this 30 seconds before I answer this question. Anybody in the comments section, why is Ersan Ilyasova not playing? Because I think it is cut and dry. It is very clear why Ersan Ilyasova is not playing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Low basketball IQ is why Ersan Ilyasova is not playing.
Mm-hmm.
He is a one-trick pony in that if he wants to score, he's got to shoot the three effectively. But he takes stupid fouls. He takes, and as I like to say, what game was that? Denver, I think it was?
Sure.
Bad foul, bad timing, stopped the clock, gave the Nuggets points with the game on the line while the clock was stopped. And he does that repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's this idea that, they're going to get a breakaway, better foul him. Actually, don't foul them, because what do the Jazz always find themselves doing late in the third quarter? Being in the penalty. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't win in the postseason like that. Ersan's not playing because Ersan's not playing with a lot of intelligence right now. And you have better options. Derek Favors is a better option to Ersan Ilyasova right now. If you look at the rotation, this is not a team that relies heavily on bigs. I'm sitting over here talking with my hands, and I have a bottle of water, and the cap's open, and I'm just,
Whatever.
Hey, man, there are people starving that would be thirsty for that water. Anyway, the point is, Ersan Ilyasova don't, as you just said, don't die on the Ersan hill, please. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. The Jazz needed a name on the roster. That's why Ilyasova is here.
I totally agree. Totally.
Well, yeah. I mean, you needed a
Oh,
name.
hey, it's the trade deadline? Well, you guys going to do anything? Oh, yeah, we signed Ilyasova. Yeah, great signing. Yep. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, is what it is.
Right.
He attacks the fouls. He does attract fouls. Devorin Rusajanjimbodububu.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I'm just going to call you Devorin because I ain't got no idea how to say Rusi
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
in stuff. I think talk about officiating hurts the Jazz big time. God bless you.
God bless.
There is nothing to be changed, and the players lose focus of the game. That's exactly right.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
We see it time and time again.
Yep. Howard says, tired of talking about Jazz and officials. Get over it. Exactly right. Casey Finlinson, good morning to you. How about Haslam versus Howard? That was amazing. See, that's what the Jazz. I would love the Jazz to have a Udonis Haslem on their roster.
Because I'll drop that motherfucker.
Who will come in here and just be a badass off the bench. And this is another one of my complaints about Rudy. Rudy thinks he's a badass. Rudy's a Chihuahua who thinks he's a 100-pound pit bull. Right? Like, that's who Rudy Gobert is. And it drives me crazy. And the complaining at officials, this is a difference with a guy like Anthony Davis. This is a difference with a guy like Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, again, is a Chihuahua who thinks he's a pit bull. Anthony Davis is actually a pit bull. Udonis Haslem is a killer. He will knock you the out. And not think he played 3 minutes this season, got in a fight, got ejected, his season was over.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
Right? Like, that's who Udonis Haslem is. That was amazing. Eric C. says, damn, a Chihuahua, LOL. Of the Jazz, if the Jazz, Brylark says, fail to make the finals this year, are you re-signing Conley? No, I'm not re-signing Conley no matter what.
No.
I mean, the guy's making, what, $34 million this year?
Yeah.
Mike Conley is a guy you cannot count on. How many, and remember I said this on May 14th and every other day before this, you cannot count on Mike Conley.
Yeah.
You need to upgrade Mike Conley. Frankly, again, this is why Mike James in Brooklyn is a travesty, because you need a guard that you can backstop Conley with. Because when Conley's healthy, he's awesome. But your best ability is your availability, and he's not available to you right now.
He's not $34 million worth of availability.
No, he's not. David Fulmer says Rudy has no moves at the post. He doesn't, and it's awkward when he tries to even shoot a layup. Jeremy Bolton says, but the Chihuahua is a beast defensively. He is. I mean, again.
Defensive player of the year. Should be that.
And well-deserved. Well-deserved. Do you guys hate each other? No, Steve, we don't hate each other.
Okay, fuck you. How's
Yeah,
that?
you know what? I'll go Haslam on you, Jake. We just, you know what? Jake and I we spend probably too much time together. For those of you who don't know, we're father and son. Mm-hmm. We spend too much time together. But perfect example of our relationship. I was having a tough day yesterday.
I want to thank me for having no days off.
I was having a terrible day yesterday. Just frustrated at work, like 0 for 86 from the three-point stripe.
You and Devin have something in common, huh?
And so...
My bad. I shouldn't have said that. That's my bad. My bad.
So as I said, we're looking for a new co-host for this show. Actually, we're going to need two because I'm going to be in jail. I'm going to be in jail for first-degree murder. But I'll plead out. And you're going to be dead. Anyway,
you two motherfuckers need Jesus.
So I was having a bad day yesterday, and I'll explain this later. No, I'll tell the story later. Fuck you. Like, you just, whatever. Swiderski says, really great. Was Jake good son as a baby? No, he shit everywhere. What do you mean? I don't know who the Jazz could get to replace Conley. Don't know what the free agent market is like either. Anybody?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The free agent and the buyout market this year was deep, and you did nothing. So, again, I'll just keep saying, hey, You're
going to keep going back to that.
I am going to keep going back to that because it keeps coming to fruition every single time we talk about this, right?
Jake, can you play the drop, who the F is that guy? Because I don't know who Mike James is.
Wow.
So Mike James used to play for the Suns.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Mike James goes to Europe and becomes a EuroLeague MVP. And did it in the Italian League for Milan. Mike James is legit. The guy can shoot. He can handle. Season ends. The Brooklyn Nets pick him up. 2 10-day contracts. Sign him for the rest of the season guaranteed. Steve Nash is calling Mike James an invaluable contributor because he handles the ball. He doesn't need to score. He understands who he is and where he is and what he is. And he'll knock down the important three. He'll make the extra pass. And guess what? The other night he made free throws to win a game. Mike James is a guy you want on your team. By the way, if Mike James was a Jazz man, he'd be starting right now. Mm-hmm. Exactly right, Ted. How do you not know who Mike James is? Do you watch the NBA? We don't.
Yeah, do you guys even watch basketball?
Do you guys watch? Are you serious? Vision Gaming 2011 says, wow, had no idea he was your son. Mont, you look way too young. Did you just call me fat? Anyway, Cody Strickland says, by the way, off subject, 2 new movies coming out, Spiral Yeah, but isn't yes, it is the song.
I've heard of that, but what is it?
But it's the freaking Saw series.
Oh, that's right. It's like it's the spin-off of the Saw series.
And the new Venom. What are your thoughts? Saw terrifies me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a horror movie guy.
Venom looks fun.
You know what movie traumatized me when I was younger? Panic Room. That movie, Jodie Foster.
She was good in that.
Jodie Foster in The Accused. My God. David Fulmer says Jazz should get rid of Favors this offseason. Well, I think Favors is probably going to get rid of Favors.
Yeah.
He's a role player. I mean, if you bring him back at the right number, there's no reason not to have Derek Favors on your team.
Yeah.
As a 10, 12-minute guy, he's absolutely a contributor. There is such a big drop-off at the position between Rudy and Favors. I don't trust Favors when he has the ball. Well, he's not a guy that shoots anymore. And the reason that Derek Favors was such a key contributor, and if you remember, this is probably going back too far for some Jazz fans, but there was all this consternation about whether or not to extend Derek Favors and Gordon Hayward. And they chose to extend both of them, and I still to this day think it was a mistake. You cannot be loyal in this game and win. Yeah. And I think it depends on the number. James Knight says, Mike, who? Eric C. says, bring back Rubio. Stop. Don't bring up Ricky Rubio's name.
If you guys don't know who Mike James is, just get on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's
do you really not know
difficult.
who Mike James is?
Dude,
that's crazy.
This is not some guy this is not like some bum NBA player, dude. Like, I don't think you guys have an appreciation for who Mike James is. I mean, the guy, legit. I mean, the Nets are on ESPN all the time. Maybe turn that game on the next time they're on and watch him. Like, he is a good player.
Because, by the way, if you go to the NBA Finals, I think you're probably going to see him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Jeremy Bolton says, LOL, Gordon Hayward. Okay. I don't know who Gordon Hayward is.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
who's Hayward?
Gordon Hayward is a guy that I'm telling you, Jazz fans will never acknowledge that they wish he was still here. Gordon Hayward, the Jazz Gordon Hayward, still on this team, is a better version of Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yeah, probably. No.
Nope. He's a better version of Bojan Bogdanovic. And I think it's one of those things that Jazz fans don't want to talk about. But Brylark says Rubio is good for 8 assists and 3 points a game. He's not. Vic says, how good do you guys think the Lakers are/will be? I think the Lakers are the best team in the NBA if LeBron and AD are 85%. And the question is, when does LeBron return? When does he play again?
When does he really return, like, for real?
Well, and I think it's very telling that they sat him down the last 2 nights. They had a chance to play him, but they against Houston, they should not have played him, and they sat him, and I think that was smart.
Yeah.
And it's so to me, I don't think it's a matter of when he returns. To me, it's how he returns. Like, is he a guy that you can play 35 minutes?
Yeah.
When he comes back? And my answer is no. If they got to go into the playoff bracket, in the play-in bracket, which is not solidified at this point, that's why, I mean, they're a half game behind Portland.
Yeah.
Anybody looking at the Portland schedule, by the way? Oh, my God.
Yeah, dude,
Are you kidding me? The Nuggets on Sunday at 7 o'clock? You're either... like, the Lakers just need to win games.
Yes.
And they're probably not going to the play-in. The team that you wonder about is the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. I mean,
do you worry about the Mavericks?
How do you, like, worry about them winning and beating you?
Yeah.
Like that? Yeah, I mean, if you're the Jazz, yeah, you probably are. I mean, I'd rather see the Mavericks than the Lakers, certainly, you know, but I think the Luka clutch gene is definitely real. And I think that the Jazz, no matter who they play, are going to have to shoot a really high percentage from 3, and they're going to have to be consistent with that if they want to win in the postseason, mainly because postseason basketball is entirely different than regular season. So if that happens, they're good. But I have real concerns about a tight game with the game on the line and Luka taking the game-winning shot. I don't want the Jazz to be in that position. That's terrifying to me.
By the way, I think it should be pointed out the way that the NBA has scheduled the Lakers these last 2 games. Mm-hmm. They tip at 11 a.m. tomorrow in Indiana.
Why is it that in Indiana there's always these weird time games?
Because that's who the Indianans are.
Like, why,
is it
dude?
Is it Indianans?
I have no idea.
I think it's okay. That's who the Hoosiers are. but they played 11 tomorrow and then 7 on Sunday. So they're going to get a full 30 hours off on a back-to-back. That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's huge.
It's a lot of recovery time.
My question is, are you if you are the Indiana Pacers and you're in the 9-10 game already?
Yeah.
How much are you trying to win this game? It's a must-win for the Lakers.
Dude, you're trying to win every game at this point. I don't buy the idea that whether you're the Jazz or the Lakers or anybody, I think you're trying to win these games as much as possible. And and I think if you're Indiana, you're trying to win the game, dude. You absolutely are, no doubt.
Yeah, I don't see any way that LeBron plays 30-plus minutes these last 2 games.
Yeah, I don't.
You're going to the playoffs.
The issue
right?
is we don't know where he's at with the ankle. They can tell us and give us lip service all day about how he's good and he's got his explosiveness and he can cut again in practice. I'm not buying that until I see it, dude. That was you tried to come back early.
Yeah.
I give him a lot of credit for that, but then it didn't work out, and now you've been resting and so we just got to see it. The practice is not a reflection of the game. There's no, you can't replicate the game. And so when you get in this game, whatever game he comes back in, and you're cutting and you're playing physical basketball and you're getting knocked down to the floor and going through all that, I'll just be curious to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very telling. Anthony Davis's groin, I'm not into other dudes' groins usually, but what I meant to say was Anthony Davis has this sore groin, which is not surprising when you're trying to rehab legs, and then you come back and what do you know, you tweak your groin.
Yeah.
I think there's some real question about Anthony Davis's ability to give them a typical performance. So what did we just say? Well, LeBron's not going to be 100%. Anthony Davis certainly not 100%. I just don't see any way that they make a deep run in the playoffs. Unless LeBron is some kind of superhuman shot-taking mofo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do that. Listen, New Orleans without BI and Zion
should be a win.
That's a game they should win.
Yeah.
The Pacers, that's a playoff team. 9th seed. That's a game they should probably win.
Yeah.
You're on the road. We'll see. It'll be interesting. It will be interesting. David Fulmer says, what are the Jazz's biggest liabilities on offense and also on defense? The Jazz biggest liability on offense is they rely far too much on the 3-ball, my opinion.
And I think you'll see this when Don comes back, whenever that is, whether that's the first game of the playoffs or one of these two or whatever.
No, he's out the regular season for sure.
They get into this mode where they stop moving the ball, and Don and Rudy play 2-man basketball, and that can't happen. So that's a liability, and yes, I obviously agree with you that they rely too much on the 3, just on the premise of it. They're built on making 3s, so they're essentially live and die, and I'm just telling you guys, in the postseason, teams are going to die on the hill of we're not letting you shoot 3s in this game.
Yeah.
They will.
And on defense, it's much the same. Their biggest issue defensively is they lack athleticism.
Yeah.
So you have guys like Jingles and Bogdanovich who can't keep other guards and forwards in front of them. And the week off, I think there's nobody that needs a week off more than Joe Ingles at this point because he looks a little heavy right now. And I think a week off will do him well. But I think defensively, you're dealing with a guy like a Royce O'Neal who's playing on a leg and a half.
Yeah,
because he's got this knee thing.
Yeah.
I look at Bojan, and Bojan's a liability defensively.
Bojan.
I'm not willing to go and say that Bojan is a turnstile, but he is a liability, and we've seen that game in and game out. And the reason that OKC scares you a little bit, and the reason that you look at Sacramento without Halliburton, you feel a little better, but young guards, Minnesota, get into the paint and have their way with the Jazz. And the thing that a lot of Jazz fans probably won't want to hear is that Rudy Gobert can be had.
Yeah.
And the reason you can get into him is you put your shoulder in his chest, and they're going to call a foul, and you're going to finish because he's not going to block your shot. If you get physical with Rudy Gobert, you're probably going to get the better of him. And if teams really want to beat the Jazz, I think one of the things you'll see is that they'll try to get Rudy in foul trouble.
Yep.
Because without Rudy Gobert, there's not any rim protection left on this team. So it's why you see The moment that stands out to me is the Clippers switching Pat Bev onto Rudy in the corner, and Bev knocks down that three, and there's a bunch of layups, and Quinn's got to call an angry timeout. And I think that's the formula to beat this team.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though. You really think the Lakers can win a championship? I don't. Not right now. Let me see what happens the next 2 days. Is LeBron limping around in Indiana? They're probably not winning a championship. Is LeBron able to shoot? When he came back last week, the guy could not elevate to shoot a three.
Yeah.
You're not winning a championship.
He was not ready, clearly.
Now, having said that, I think they can win a couple of series without LeBron. I mean, Anthony Davis has shown you, but again, he's injured, but Anthony Davis has shown you that he's capable of putting up 30, 40 points a night on his own.
Yeah.
And with the way that the depth of the LA Lakers has come up and improved, they can win a playoff series or two.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're going to win a Western Conference Finals, certainly. If LeBron's 75%, that's usually better than a lot of guys 90%, because nobody's 100% this time of year.
Agreed.
So,
Completely.
yeah, I do think they're dangerous. Spencer Morgan, good morning, says threes and rim baskets are formula for success. Outside the paint, twos equal death. Tell the Suns that. Tell the Blazers that.
Was that comment just like generally speaking in the NBA? Or
Yeah, I believe so. I think the mid-range game is making a return in the NBA because guys know that you can't live and die on the three anymore. And I think what you're seeing is the evolution of NBA basketball, which is always a cycle. I think for most of the last 3 years, we've relied on the three ball way too much.
Yeah.
And now I think that's why you're seeing Book and CP3 and Dame and CJ McCallum the other night. I mean, you look at the best teams. You look at Kawhi Leonard's got an incredible pull-up game. Paul George, I still maintain, is the best pure shooter in the NBA. Lethal from the mid-range. I look out east. Obviously, Kevin Durant is one of the best mid-range players in the NBA, as is Kawhi, as is Kyrie. You look at Milwaukee. They're the one team that doesn't have their superstar is not a mid-range player.
Yeah.
Their superstar is a dunk player in Giannis.
Yeah.
That's why they can be had. Because, again, you're relying on other players. And I look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia doesn't have a whole lot of mid-range. Philadelphia is a 3-and-D team, which makes you a little nervous. And Joel is critical in the paint for them. But if you look up and down the standings, you look at the best teams, they all have mid-range. I mean, if you look at Luka Doncic, incredible mid-range player. He's got a huge bag of tricks that he's able to, back to the basket, pull up, teardrop. Like, you look at those guys, that's what the NBA is becoming.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a little bit less three and a heck of a lot more mid-range. So, yeah, I do think that's important. Jason Whiting says the only thing with PG is I've only watched him in the postseason, and he's choked every time. PG's not been a great postseason player, especially with the game on the line.
Yep.
But then again, when you play with Russ, and this is what I say about Washington and triple-doubles, and oh, my God, Russell Westbrook's not a guy you want taking a jump shot. Because I don't know where his shooting went. That's why Bradley Beal's so important to them, who, by the way, now is hurt. So what does that do for them? It's amazing that this league evolves as quickly as it does. Peter Peter says, I don't see much mid-range at all. What again, who are you watching that you don't see mid-range in this league? Every elite team has mid-range. Just stick with the Jazz.
Yeah.
Bojan Bogdanović. What has powered his resurgence? Attacking the rim. Playing inside the arc because he was ice cold. His ability to that little pull-up that he does.
Yep. Don plays in the mid.
Don's a great mid-range player.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're citing 5 or 6 seed teams mid-range game as an argument against the 3 and rim formula of a team that was best in the NBA, Spencer Morgan says. Okay, so what I'm saying is, and I guess the proof will be in the pudding. You look at who's going to win the NBA championship this year. You better have a mid-range game. Because I'm telling you, if you're the Utah Jazz, teams are not going to let you shoot threes. The open look in the corner I'm telling you, is going to evaporate, especially later and later in the playoffs. Because think about the teams you're probably going to see. What did the Denver Nuggets do to the Jazz? Well, they pushed out to the three-point line. What did the Clippers do? What did Minnesota do? What did the Blazers do? How many open looks from three did the Jazz have against the Blazers the other night?
Not many.
Not many at all.
Yeah.
And when you have to make spectacular shots, that's much more difficult. So if you believe that the Jazz can just be a 3-and-D team and win a championship, I got news for you. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because you're not athletic on the perimeter. You can say a lot of things about pick your guy. Jordan Clarkson, what is Jordan Clarkson doing that is making him so difficult? He's not shooting threes because he doesn't shoot the three overly well. He is playing an elite level of mid-range.
I think what you guys got to understand about postseason basketball is that when you play a team 4 games in a row, because that's the minimum, obviously, 4 games in a row, probably 5 or 6 games in a row, you got to understand that you're not going to play run and gun transition basketball. That's not going to happen in the postseason. That's never how it's been. And I think what I'm getting at here is that with the Jazz, you know, the point was, hey, well, you know, the Jazz are the best team in the league and they're a 3-and-D team. Yeah, that might be true. They're the best team in the regular season, but look back to the Rockets. The Rockets were one of the best teams in the league and they shot a ton of threes under Mike D'Antoni. And what happened? They dried up in the postseason. And so my point just is that the Jazz, you're not going to see 53s in a game from the Jazz in the postseason.
No.
You'll see 30s, but you won't see 50s.
But what kind of threes are those going to be? I mean, if you think about Logo Dame, why is he called Logo Dame? Because they're not letting him shoot that ball right at the stripe. I mean, when you push out on Damian Lillard, Trae Young, Steph Curry, what do? They back up and they shoot it from further. That's a very difficult shot to make. I think you know what I think has happened in the NBA right now? I think we've normalized the 3-point shot. Mm-hmm. We've normalized that deep three, and I'm telling you, it's not normal. It's not your ticket to greatness. And I can't remember, I think Spencer, you're right that the Jazz have made themselves on 3-and-D, but what's going to happen with rim protection? Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to have Rudy standing in the paint protecting the rim because teams that you're going to run into, whether that's the Clippers, the Lakers, Denver, what did we see against Denver? And the Jazz won that game, but how did they win that game? Bojan Bogdanovic attacking the rim, shooting critical threes. Was that Rudy Gobert dunking on people? No, it wasn't. He got blocked trying to dunk on people. Mm-hmm. What you see happening with the Jazz against these great teams is they're pulling Rudy away from the basket. They're switching. It's why you see Enes Kanter and Carmelo Anthony. Look at the game Carmelo had against the Jazz, right? Because those are guys that shoot the ball well. Carmelo, another guy that has a really good mid-range game.
Yeah, he's made a career on it.
I'm telling you, I with all due respect, you're not going to have Rudy standing in the paint, freelancing defensively.
Did somebody make a comment on that?
Yeah, I think it was Spencer Morgan who said the math, where's his comment? The math on threes versus mid-range twos is pretty hard to ignore. If the three is taken away, you punish teams at the rim, not settle for deep twos. Well, mid-range is exactly what it's called. It means what it's called, mid-range. Nobody's taking deep twos.
Yeah.
Right? What a mid-range is an elbow jumper. It is a teardrop in the paint.
15-footer.
It's a 15-footer. Yeah. It's not a deep two. It's not your foot on the line. It is, I don't know. I mean, it's probably, we're probably arguing nuance. The best team, really, they are one game ahead and lost all 3 to the Suns. Please, it ain't that clear cut to be shouting Jazz are the best team. Well, I got news for you. This regular season, the Jazz have been the best team. I mean, you cannot be the Suns and beat the Jazz and turn around and lose to the Clippers. You don't get to say, hey, it's not as clear cut that the Jazz are the best team because the Suns are one game behind. The Suns are one game behind, so they're not the best team. It's that simple. Yeah.
If the lead is 15 or if it's 1, the Jazz are still the best team. And I think, I understand what you're trying to get at there. Hey, the lead is 1 game. The Jazz are just as good, and they beat them in all 3 matchups. Well, that might be true. One of those matchups, the Jazz didn't have Don and Mike. So I mean, they really have beaten them head to head 1 time, if you think about it. And I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but here's what I am saying: when you have a 1-game lead, and you're likely going to secure that over these next 2 games, I would think you get the right and the respect to say, hey, we're the best team in the West. That said, in a 7-game series, Jazz and Suns, don't know how that would turn out. Really, I don't know how that would turn out. That would be an amazing series.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, today is a sneaker drop day.
Oh, boy.
And it is 7:59. Oh, man. Open the app. Come on, motherfucker.
What is it? What is it today?
The draw opens. It's the wings. It's the 5-low wing. Tomorrow is the Kobe Hall of Fame. Are you in on the 5-low wing?
Trying to get it open here.
I don't know if I'm in on this shoe or not.
The 5-low wing.
Yeah, with the black low top. And
I got it.
This is the 5-low wing. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
bro, it's $190 for a low top. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Not with Kobe's tomorrow.
Yeah, and the other thing that you got to remember that's coming up tomorrow too is that Air Jordan 1, the Shadow 2.0. Yeah, I'm probably out on that shoe. And the Kobe Hall of Famer. Okay, good. We won't be distracted then. Come on. Blitz says, I just don't get it.
Here we go.
Where is this mid-range game you talk of? I watch all but 1 or 2 Knicks games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. You're telling me Julius Randle isn't shooting elbow jumpers. You're telling me Julius Randle, all he does is shoot threes. You're telling me Derrick Rose doesn't play in the mid-range? You're telling me R.J. Barrett? Okay. That's fine. You know. I don't know, man. Yeah, Giggity, exactly right. Do people not seeing the mid-range game even watch the games? I don't know. Am I wrong on this? I feel like a fool at this point. Like I watch NBA games 2-3 games a day. I watch a ton of NBA.
Yeah.
I watch every Jazz game. There's a ton of mid-range going on in this league.
Yeah.
I can't be the only one that sees that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that there's a lot of mid-range being played, and I think not even making a joke. I think whether you look at the book play last night, you look at the way Giannis plays the game. You look at somebody like Julius Randle. Look at LeBron. All these guys play in the mid-range. The only difference is that we put elite 3-point shooters on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my wife's not going to freak out today and tell us to end the show.
Oh.
Which is good.
I'm going to get medieval on your ass.
Yeah, exactly. All right, make sure you subscribe to our channel because we are giving away a PS5. I forgot to mention this. Somebody in the comments, Mick in the comments said, are you giving away the PS5 today? Well, no, because we're not at 750 yet. Mm-hmm. When this show gets to 750 subscribers, we will give away a PlayStation 5. Now, it hasn't arrived from Uzbekistan yet.
So what's the update? So let's hear the update.
Okay, so here's the contest. You got to take a picture that you're subscribed, tag us on Twitter, The Monty Show, SLC Supercars. Take that picture. Yes, you can be international. Yes, you can use Instagram or Twitter. The Monty Show, that's me. SLC Supercars, that's Douche. So just tag us on Twitter or
Douche
Instagram.
Canoe, thank you.
It's Douche Canoe, thank you. Tag us on Twitter and Instagram. You're entered into the contest to win the PS5 and one of our brand new logo elevated clothing sweatshirts, which is not even available yet. It's an exclusive that we'll give to you because you subscribe to this show. So to get a PS5 was not the easiest thing in the world. Jake thought he was buying one from Walmart. Turns out he wasn't. It was from some dude named Kevin on the street corner.
Here's the deal.
And it was a PS4. And when I say PS, that doesn't mean PlayStation. It was a PS4. Mm-hmm. So then we got on the interwebs and searched for a PS5, and I found this Blue Light Electronics store.
We didn't start out great, but then we got momentum going.
And it went away. And so when they say to you, we communicate on WhatsApp, you're kind of like, are you drug dealers? So I went to buy it, and they're like in Kazakhstan, or I think their store is at the base of some encampment. I'm not sure. Anyway, the point is, I buy it. I've been WhatsApping with this guy, and he's like, I asked him yesterday, hey, is this shipped? He's like, no, but your order is confirmed. I'll send you a tracking number when it ships out. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay. I mean, like, how long do I wait for the tracking number? I mean, it is Kazakhstan, so.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't know enough about how he gets the PS5. That's always the question.
I don't know, and I probably don't want to know. All I know is I made this purchase on a credit card, so I had purchase protection in case I get like a box of, like, who knows, rocks from, Listeria stand. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about it, but at the end of the day,
So that's the update right now.
You're going to have a PS5 because we're going to get one and give it away on the show at 7:50.